Today on this FMF, I'm going to provide you with my top list of 8 critical landlord responsibilities. Hello, property management brainstormers. It's Bob Preston here, your host, and welcome to 5 Minute Friday. FMF is a mini podcast series where I offer my best tips and advice regarding questions I frequently get from property managers, real estate investors, and landlords. I do this every Friday in 5 minutes or less. So if you're new here, consider subscribing to get all my quick advice and updates, and let's get started with today's FMF. Happy Friday, everybody. I think it's safe to say that all landlords have a lot of responsibilities when it comes to renting their investment properties, working with their tenants, and keeping the property well maintained. Today on this FMF, I'm going to provide you with my top list of 8 critical landlord responsibilities. If you're a rental property owner and you're not down for taking on these responsibilities, or maybe you don't have the stomach for it, well then it's time to hire a property manager. My company, North County Property Group, happens to be in San Diego, California, but if you're tuning in from outside of the area or in another state, most of this applies to you as well. Number 1, top landlord responsibility. Comply with anti-discrimination laws. Before you even advertise a vacant apartment or rental home, it's crucial that you understand fair housing laws. What you say and do when selecting tenants, if you're not careful, could result in costly discrimination complaints and even a possible lawsuit. Simply put, you cannot do or say anything which results in discrimination based on race, religion, national origin, sex, gender identification, sexual orientation, familial status, physical or mental disability, receipt of public assistance, and now, more recently, damage to credit and previous financial difficulties which were brought on as a result of COVID-19 impact. Number 2, preparing a legal lease or rental agreement. This is signed with a tenant and is the contractual basis for their tenancy, full of crucial and critical details about the landlord-tenant expectations. Taken together with federal, state, and your local landlord-tenant laws, your lease or rental agreement sets out all the rules you and your tenant must follow. Conflict can occur when landlords include illegal clauses in the lease or when landlords fail to provide proper disclosures regarding the property. Number 3, make legally required disclosures. Landlords must make certain disclosures to tenants if they know facts about the property deemed to be important. For example, is there lead paint in the home? Or has there been previous mold issues and have these been corrected? Or are there possible cancer or reproductive harm chemicals to be disclosed under Proposition 65? Number 4, know the rules and regulations regarding security deposits. Security deposits are one of the biggest areas of landlord-tenant disputes and small claims cases. To avoid this type of conflict, you need to know the laws about security deposits. How much can you ask for security? What can be charged when the tenant moves out? And the time frame within which the deposit disposition needs to be documented in writing with a balance returned to the former tenant. Number 5, there are lots of other landlord-tenant laws in general which must be followed. Things such as when you can raise rent, how a landlord may terminate a tenancy, how to evict a tenant who hasn't paid rent, and the notices and the time frames when there's a failure to pay rent or a breach of some other condition of the lease agreement. Number 6, it's the landlord's responsibility to provide habitable housing. In California, landlords are required to keep their rental unit habitable under a legal doctrine known as the implied warranty of habitability. If you don't keep up on important repairs that are essential to the living space, things like heating, hot water, working appliances, locking doors and windows, tenants in California may have several options, including withholding rent, claim of injuries due to defective conditions in the rental, or maybe even early termination of the lease. Number 7, respecting a tenant's privacy. There are limits to a landlord's access to the rental property and how often they can go to the rental property. In California, a landlord must provide 24 hours notice to enter unless the tenant gives their permission otherwise. So managing access and maintenance of the property is a critical aspect to keep good tenant relationships and not infringe on the tenant's right to peaceful enjoyment of the home. Number 8, don't retaliate against a tenant who has exercised a legal right. It is illegal to retaliate in California, for example, by attempting to raise the rent or evicting a tenant who has perhaps complained about unsafe living conditions or wanting to make maintenance requests. Well, that's my list. I hope it's helpful and you've learned a lot. There are many important aspects I've not covered. And so if you have any questions or you'd like to discuss further details, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact is always available in the show notes to every single episode. Thank you for joining today's 5 Minute Friday. Keep the faith, and I will catch you next time.